Yesterday's EO was bizarre, among many of the bizarre executive orders that he had signed out. And as you point out, he misrepresented the facts in that executive order because it said that we had suggested that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. No, we said it was for the hallmarks of Russian information operations, including the dumping of accurate information, which is what we said in that letter. So again, this was just, his effort to try to get back at those individuals who have criticized him openly and publicly.
So the CIA director under Barack Obama, who voted for the Communist Party candidate for president, tells us that when he says it's a Russian information operation, we should assume that it's mostly true, like the New York Times or something like that. That is, of course, penitentiary face. John Brennan, former CIA director, affectionately known in Washington as penitentiary face, one of the felonious 51 who signed on to that letter, that information operation that our own intelligence community ran against us, claiming that Hunter Biden's laptop had all the earmarks of Russian disinformation prior to the 2020 election, the presidential election. And polls showed later that it corrupted the outcome of the election, like we're a third world country and they're the CIA. Now, John Brennan, penitentiary face, now has the audacity to claim that it was President Trump who misrepresented the facts. Now, the former CIA director, tragically, complaining about the president's executive order to revoke his security clearance and crying to the only people that'll listen to him now over at MSDNC. Isn't that amazing? And I got to say, I have a particular disdain for this man. I find him to be profoundly dishonest. And he did brag for years about voting for the Communist Party candidate for president of the United States, Gus Hall. And then Barack Obama, mentored as a teenager by a communist, Frank Marshall Davis, made John Brennan, penitentiary face, his CIA director. And then he tampered in our presidential election in a conspiracy that was inspired by Tony Blinken, then with the Biden campaign, and he became our Secretary of State.
I think that last part actually is so important because people definitely forgot that Tony Blinken was another instrumental part in, as you lovingly term them, the felonious 51's last-ditch efforts to sway the 2020 election. Now, even with what John Brennan was saying today on MSNBC, which I think you're right is one of the only outlets that would even have him on, I'm not actually sure how that contradicts what Trump was saying that he's saying, oh, I didn't say it was the hallmark of Russian disinformation. I said it was the hallmark of Russian information.
Right.
Whatever it was all wrong. Everything that they said was wrong. And it's got to make you wonder, just from a basic common sense standpoint, these people had security clearances. What the heck were they doing with them if they're so stupid and so easily gullible or maliciously trying to lie to the American people that, oh, hey, this obviously accurate thing, Hunter Biden leaving a laptop at a computer repair shop, is Russian disinformation. I'm not sure why any of them needed them to begin with. And Trump saying, hey, you tried to keep me out in 2020 and it worked. Nice security clearance, shameful thing if you lost it, is not the craziest thing in the world.
Right. And, the fact is the FBI had the laptop, the hard drive, and back in 2019, they knew a year before the felonious 51 information operation they ran against the American people. The FBI knew all about it.
Every liberal media outlet also knew it was real until it was acceptable for them to admit that that was the case.
And the FBI director, Christopher Wray, didn't come forward and say, hey, guys, we know that this laptop's real. This was the most corrupt thing, I think. I covered the intelligence community for 10 years. I've never seen anything as corrupt as this.
And the fundamental problem is that they deliberately abused their security clearances, which is why they needed to be revoked, because they obviously didn't know anything about the origins of the Hunter Biden laptop or any insider information as in regards to where that information came from. And yet they wanted to give the American public the perception that because they have these security clearances, that they did have the inside information and that they deserve to be trusted.